All right, welcome back to another episode of In the Green Bets. Justin here with Grant. Coming off a good week for you, 6-unit winner. I lost a couple thanks to a couple of chokes, but good week for you nonetheless.
Yeah, Lanto snuck in that top 20 for me. I got 2 of the 4 there. Hit the margin, swept on the matchups. Unfortunately, Ram told us to stick it up our asses, but
a little bit, yeah.
Still a productive week, and we didn't bet on the guy who won at 3.5, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, the Ram thing is I know we spent some time kind of telling people don't bet this on the show. I still think that's you shouldn't bet that at 3.5 to 1 ever. It's just happened that he won. The field was so bad that you knew if he brought up his game, he was going to win, but he didn't win by much. And the guys that were there pushing him were long shots to say the least. So I do think we nailed kind of the prototype of what guys did. There was a bunch of bombers up there, a whole bunch of long hitters. There was not many guys who bunted around by any means. The course played a little bit not harder, but you definitely had to play. Nobody was going nuclear every round, so the wind made things a little interesting too. So I had Charles Howell and Munoz just absolutely choke their face off on some top 20s matchup. I got screwed on one of the matchups. It was a winner until it wasn't on Sunday, but one of those weeks
I had the opposite luck where Reed hit a double on 17 to win my matchup for me,
right.
To go 3-0. So that I kind of took your luck there, but I mean that's kind of how some of these matchups are. If you just kind of try to hit more than you lose every single week, and not a bad. I mean, we had a good feel for the tournament. We kind of gave a good range. I had Smalley in there. We had a lot of guys that were in that 100, right below or right over 100, who actually did have chances to win this tournament if they got lucky and played well Saturday, or at least mostly you need just a good Saturday round. But we have another kind of shaky field this week.
Yeah, Wells Fargo Championship being held at TPC Potomac. This is normally Quail Hollow. Rory defending champ.
Yep.
But it's the President's Cup is at Quail Hollow in September. So this has been moved to TPC Potomac, which hosted the Quicken Loans. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and
hosted
17
the Quicken Loans
and 18.
So a little bit to go off of. At least you can kind of plan out your player archetype a little bit. But the field's not great. You got Rory at the top, and then it kind of goes into – there's a decent range, I think, after that. But then it starts dropping off precipitously once you get to 50 to 1. It's pretty rough after that. Yeah. But I could see – I like the 30 to 50 range this week quite a bit. I think there's some good players in there with some value. Again, I wouldn't go to Rory at 7 to 1. Probably this course to me makes no sense for him. It's a very technical course. You got to hit it here and then here, and the greens are tiny and they're really firm. It's super tight, short, but not short like you can just hit driver everywhere and overpower it. It's a little bit like RBC Heritage we just had a few weeks ago, where it's look, this is where you have to hit it. Everybody's going to hit it there, then they're going to play from there. So the guys who can, manage tee to green and then putt well are the ones who are going to win.
So to kind of go,
scores have been tough here in the past too, 7 under wins.
This is this is such a good way to explain, I think, the ball striking that this course demands. Kyle Stanley won this event. Kyle Stanley won an event at this golf course in 2017. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's ever watched Kyle Stanley play, but if you have to do anything but putt, he's awesome. Other than that, he's just, absolutely atrocious on the green. So that kind of shows you, I think, that type of player that we're going to be looking at this week. Somebody who can just, keep themselves out of trouble, put it in those right spots, hit it far and hit it, in relatively, tight areas. And then, give themselves opportunities to make a bunch of pars and then sprinkle in some birdies.
Yeah, I will be staying away from the bomber guys, other than the guys who I think are, have good iron and short game play. I think there's a couple of guys that maybe fit both, but it's more about it's a positional golf course. Simple as that. You got to hit it to the correct spots. You got to hit a bunch of greens. The greens are tiny. It's like 4,200 square foot greens. Some of the smallest these guys will see all year. And in the past, they've been super firm. One year, I think the score was really low, but other than that, it was like 6 or 7 under winning.
Stanley won at 7, and Molinari went. I was not watching that tournament back then, but Molinari supposedly went nuclear, and he won that 20.
It was super wet that year, and they had to. It was like super hot, so they had to keep the greens wet, otherwise they were going to burn them out. The year, I think there was more events here than that. So the years before that, 6 under 1 and 7 under 1. The 2 years before that as well.
Okay.
So it's like. It's kind of a hard golf course. Like it's just not a course where there's a bunch of long par 4s. There's only 2 par 5s, and both of them are like not really reachable in the sense that it's just bomb a driver, hit an iron on the green.
Right.
Some guys will maybe try to get there, but they don't. It's not obvious birdies. I think one of them actually plays like almost not quite like basically level par. So just like a tenth of a shot under. So par 4 play is going to be huge. Obviously, on a week where you have more par 4s. I like these type of tournaments. I like the tournaments where it's like take the drivers at it, like it's not a driving contest. Brings other guys into the field.
It's fun when you tighten things up and make the landing spots so much smaller, just to kind of take out those guys who swing with with kind of like no really feel.
You cannot fake it. You cannot fake it. When you have greens that small and firm and fairways tight with trees and rough, like you can't fake it.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. You see some guys really, put on their skills, which is great. And I don't like watching putting contests. I'm kind of in the John Ron camp where I don't really like those tournaments that much. Right. So a tournament like this where it just turns into like a ball striking competition, I think that's just as fun to watch or more fun to watch.
Yeah, well, let's dive into the outrights. Okay. I have FanDuel pulled up because the odds are better. Those are the best odds that I had found for like the middle range, the guys that I think you and I will be looking at. Who was the first guy that kind of like drew your eye? I don't think either of us are going with Rory or Connors or Finau at those numbers.
No. I think I don't really want to go below 35. Looks like he's 36 on yours, but I think that
Hatton is my first one at 36. I won't go below that either.
What about Keegan? Keegan at 28. And I think where's he at on there? Oh, he's down for where are we at? Oh, 28.
He's 28.
Yeah. So I think you said Hatton at what?
Hatton at 36 is my first one. I'm not touching Keegan. I'm not touching Henley. I'm not touching Power. Below them, everyone else is too short.
That number on DK is 20. So yeah, shop that around.
I like Hatton in a tournament where the score is going to be less than 10 under. He's shown that those are the type of tournaments he plays well in. He's not the straightest off the tee, but maybe this course makes you take the driver out of his hands a little bit, just get the irons in play. But he's trending pretty nicely. I just like him on this type of course. I want Hatton when it gets difficult for sure. First in strokes gained putting over the last 24, top 30 and around the green. It's going to be important this week because you're going to miss quite a few greens with how small they are. Good on par 4s. Like I said, not doing well off the tee or with fairways gained, but I don't think that matters so much this week. So I like Hatton at 36.
Yeah, I like Gary at 35. His fairway gain is also not very great, which does concern me a little bit. But his proximity has been trending in really, really good. Long par 4s, he's awesome. I mean, it's kind of been his bread and butter, right? That's why he plays those difficult courses so well. Ball striking has been trending so high. Approach, he was third in my model last 24 rounds. It's coming together. If we can just get him off the tee, just in a reasonable chance, I think that when things tighten up, Gary's a guy that I trust, and I like his number more than these top guys in the 20s range.
Yeah, I don't mind Gary at all either. He's proven in the past that he has the length, but he'll go ahead and hit a bunch of irons in the fairway and just
Right.
go from there. I love this range. I like Casey at 41. I like Leishman at 41. I like Reed at 44. Casey hasn't played since the Masters, but he was playing good golf prior to that. He's won at Valspar a couple times. That's kind of a similar, hit it here, keep it out of trouble, make your pars type of golf course. Leash has played well here in the past. Plus, he's another guy who's like, he will just hit a bunch of fairways and hit a bunch of greens, and it's kind of up to his putter as to whether or not he will win. And then Reed's starting to show some form, and he has some form here as well.
So Abe Answer is 35 on DK. It looked like he was 28 there on FanDuel. I think Abe at 35 is a little bit. I don't think that's not the worst number ever. Abe didn't Abe didn't play very well in Mexico, but Abe does things that you need to do on this type of golf course. Like he's not going to go out there and overpower.
Fourth here in 2018.
Right. He's gonna kind of play, to his strengths. So I think that fits him well. Unfortunately, his form isn't great, but when you put those outrights in, you're kind of betting for that upside, and Abe has that upside, especially in a field like this. He's got the skill, no doubt, to win it.
Yeah, that number is a lot better for sure. I would consider him at that number. His form's just bad. It's like just straight up bad. So I don't know.
Cameron Young is 28 on DK and 41 on FanDuel.
I wouldn't have thought this was a Cameron Young thing, and then he went to RBC and just played great. And it was like, well, I wonder if maybe he has a little Cam Champ in him, where it's like you took the driver out of his hands and he's able to take advantage of his length with other clubs. It's like maybe he can do it that way. But I'm not going to be on Cameron Young, at least on an outright type of thing this week. I just don't know that. I don't know. He's been playing good golf though, so it's kind of hard to hate on him. But
yeah, he's kind of priced though as if he's like won golf tournaments before, and he hasn't. So that's kind of the thing for me.
Yeah, the next line right here on this that I've got on the screen, Siwoo, Webb, and Garcia is interesting because this is kind of a Garcia course, definitely a Webb course, but Webb's form is fucking dog shit.
Yeah,
and Siwoo's form is not exactly stellar either.
Man, you have some good numbers over there. I did not check that. I love that Siwoo number. That's 8 points.
FanDuel was by far the best. I had looked earlier, and it was by far the best.
And that Keith Mitchell 55. He's 40 on DK. So I would, definitely be, shopping these around because I like Mitchell this week. I really, really like Siwoo. His form has been awesome. And he's a guy that when he plays up to his potential, this is something that, he could play well at a type of course like this, where it just kind of requires you to spot by spot and just kind of slowly take away, and chip your way up the leaderboard.
Siwoo's form is a little bit better than I thought. 4 straight made cuts, 2 top 20s, a couple other okay finishes. Has an 11th at this course before.
Yep.
I don't hate that at all at that number. That may make the card for sure.
Keith Mitchell was 10th in my model. Ball striking has been really, really good. Plays long par fours really, really well. And he was a pretty good scrambler, which I like too this week.
Yeah. Cam Young popped 3rd in my model, by the way. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people betting him. I think that's why DK dropped him.
If we keep trickling down, Kuchar showed some really good form, and this is a Kuchar course, but I'll let Kuchar prove it to me that he's ready to win again before I bet him.
I actually don't even like this range. I don't think many of these guys.
I don't either. Joel Damon at 70, I will probably be on. Good form, had a good finish here, and this is the type of course that Joel should do good on.
Yeah, what about Denny?
Denny McCarthy is another guy that I have on the list. 90-1 here. I like him as well.
He hasn't missed a cut since February of – it's February of 22, sorry, but he's played like 10 events since then. Holy shit.
Denny's been pretty solid this year, and this is the type of course where if his irons are just good enough, you put him on a bunch of small greens, like he'll fucking make a bunch.
Yeah, he's that guy who is a good putter, but he has those spikes in irons week, so you think eventually it'll come together, and this seems like a week it could happen.
Yeah. CT Pan at 75, showing some very, very good form on a course that suits him better than most courses suit him.
Yeah.
I don't hate that number if you're wanting to go down into this range.
I did a proximity rolling port about guys how their numbers are kind of giving that more of a look of how their irons are of the form is. And CT Pan was way up there. Denny also was way up there. So those are two guys you can try to ride the form, play these bigger numbers, and hope that they'll have a chance because the field is a little bit weaker at the top. Although we do kind of like that 35 to 50 range.
Yeah, I'm not going to be digging super deep this week. I think Denny's probably the lowest I will actually bet. Laird at 90 is interesting, but it's not really something that I'm going to bet because his putter is so bad. Mm-hmm. I think Poston at 110 is interesting only because we've seen his kind of up and down bullshit, and I think his up is, good enough to win. Sung Kang was just has 3 top 5s at this course. He's 3 for 3 top 5s at this golf course.
What's Ricky Fowler? What's his number? Do you have him on there?
120.
It's not even. That needs to be longer. Although his course history is really good here.
But his form is so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
In theory, this is a Grayson Sig course because it's short, but his form's not really doing anything for me either.
Give me all the Matt Wolff matchups in the world, please.
Yeah, this course doesn't make any fucking sense. Look where Matt Wolff is. Think about that. Think of a year ago. He was coming off some really, really good major finishes and kind of showing some form. And now he is priced the same as Lee Hodges and Peter Uihlein, who's not been on tour.
Yeah, not great.
So not good for that for my guy for Wolfie. But
Lipsky was another one. Lipsky was somebody I wanted to mention too as another long.
He's about 100, I think, 90. I think I saw that. Yeah, 90.
We mentioned him from that team event, and he's played well ever since then. He's kind of been continuing his form. So
he showed up last week. Good approach play, hits a bunch of fairways, hits a bunch of greens. So this is definitely a course he could pop at.
10 strokes on approach last week. 10.
Yeah, that's really, really good. and he gained putting. It's kind of a miracle that he didn't win.
Right.
Oh my God! You gained 10 on approach and you gained putting. You should probably win most weeks, but his wedge play wasn't good enough. So
he might be more of a long shot each way, a top 10 or something.
Yeah. If we look at my model, some guys that we've already talked. Not doing Henley. You mentioned Cam Young and Woodland. Fitz and Connors are too short. I like CT Pan. I like Laird, but not for a winner. Same with Neesmith. Yeah. Leishman, Casey, like them for winners. Siwoo, like we talked about. Lipsky.
I think Keith Mitchell's right there at 19 on yours. That's somebody I wanted to highlight too.
There's Damon, another guy. There's some fun numbers, I think, in the 40 range, the 40 to 50 to 60 range. Those are my favorite range, I think, this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Top 20s, top 10s, top 5s, anything you want to – it's going to be a bunch of the same guys.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from 10s just because it's been kind of helping me out as far as making my card. I felt more comfortable taking out those bets. I just don't see the value. Yeah, I think we kind of get into this every week is just more of because we like that range of guys who have good top 20 numbers. That's kind of how we bet. We've been betting that forever. But I think if you want to go super high, I don't even know.
Fitzpatrick is the guy that I'd go up and get if I was going up super high, or Connors, one of those two.
Yeah, 125 for Connors. I think Connors could be my one and done, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, one and done will be kind of interesting. We'll talk about that later on. But I like Hatton at 2-1. I like Siwoo at 250. I like Damon at 290. Mitchell at 270. For sure.
Neesmith and 30. We just mentioned him. I like that.
Lipsky, Neesmith. I like. For some reason, Troy Merritt is priced so stupid this week. I don't really understand it. At least in the outright market. Denny at plus 360. He's playing some nice golf to be priced down that far.
Troy Merritt was third in bent putting.
Good for Troy Merritt. I don't understand the Merritt thing. I know I talked about Hubbard last week and he pooped on our faces, but he was there. He was played good still. So
what about Tony Finau 120?
I'd rather bet Connors.
At minus 125, or what's he on FanDuel?
You said plus 125, I thought.
No, Connors is minus 125.
Plus 110.
Okay, so do that instead, yeah. Gary at 160, I will be betting because Gary Woodland's going to win the tournament, so that'll be easy top 20.
Laird and Neesmith for 30s. I like both over 2-1. Same with Lipsky's plus 270. That's a really good number. Sung Kang, I don't know. I don't know what it is about this course, but has 3 top 5s in 3 tries. So it's like
loves it, huh?
Apparently something works when he shows up here.
The tournament, it's in like Maryland, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be cold.
Sung Kang gained 4.3 on approach last week in Mexico, so maybe he's going to trend a little bit going into a course he likes.
Cool weather wind, I assume, of Maryland right now? Yeah, I don't know, but I could look it up.
I don't know either. Some guys that are up in my model. Sepp Straka, 7th in my model. I don't know if he's in this field. I have not seen his name anywhere. Oh yeah, he's 40-1.
Smotherman. 40-1. Oh, Seamus Power, he'd be another one too. Sabatini, Adam Long. There's a bunch of guys in there if you'd like them.
Sepp Straka plus 170 for a top 30. It's not terrible. I mean, his 20 number is pretty good.
Luke List. This could be a Luke List course.
Straka has some really nice finishes, so I might be on him for a top 20 as well.
Okay.
Luke List, yes, in the sense that like he's another one of those guys that hits it far, but like has shown up on the course on like the shorter courses because it's just easy for them to hit the fairway where they don't have to take as much club. They don't have to hit 3 where they can hit an iron. So there's definitely an advantage there. Brian Stewart popped in my model. He's another one of those guys that he can stay high in your model because his approach play is so good, but his putting is not trending well, and his off the tee numbers are just absolutely horrific. So, maybe this is the week though where you can kind of go away from some of those guys, or you can go towards some of those guys that have bad off the tee numbers, just because you don't. It's not a requirement here.
Right.
Doug Gim, another guy who his approach plays really, really good. His putter is really, really shitty, but he's playing decent golf right now. So he's getting on approach 5 straight.
Playing shitty putters this week. I don't mind it. We've kind of seen bad putters do well this tournament.
Yeah, I guess.
Keegan
has a top 5. Keegan has a top 5 at this course. Molinari and Fowler, but Fowler's a good putter. Was a good putter then. Bo Hostler is a good putter. Martin Laird is a 3rd.
Leagues.
Ryan Armour is really not that great of a putter for as short as he is.
But we've also seen some good ones play well here. Reed, Abe, Bo Hostler, guys like that.
I'll be interested to watch Brandon Matthews. He's the Corn Ferry guy who just hits fucking nukes. He's in the field this week. He hasn't played with a driver the last 2 weeks because it goes too far for the courses they were playing. His fairway finder driver is like 320 carry cut. He's like the longest professional golfer there is. He just hits nukes.
Is he really tall?
He's like kind of tall, but he just bombs it.
Interesting.
No laying up Huber, the Corn Ferry guy that they have on the pod. Sometimes he's like, it's like way different. Like he just fucking bombs it. So he got a sponsor's exemption this week. So this is not the course to hit nukes on, but will be interesting to see him hit a few shots. David Lingmurth also won this course in the past. That's a blast from the past. No, that's kind of where I'm at on 20s and 30s. I just watched Brian Harmon's number drop in front of my face, but I won't go super low on these because the field is huge. Like Norlander's way down there. Maybe this is a course where Norlander's irons could show up. His form is so horrible. It's not even funny.
He does have spike weeks though, so like if you do believe in him, the problem is it's impossible to figure it out. Like
he may spike for 2 rounds and then absolutely fuck you on Saturday and Sunday. So Higgs is way down there.
Cuts in a row, and then he'll get like 2nd. And then he'll miss like 5 more cuts in a row, and then he'll get 10th. It's like, what are we doing?
Harry's kind of been popping a little bit lately. He's pretty far down the board. Sig and Stewart are both about 3-1 for a top 20. They're, they don't hate either of those guys.
Yeah.
So, matchups.
Yeah, I kind of like matchups this week. Let's get into that.
Hatton as an underdog to Abe. I will take that. Hatton's form was significantly better. I just like it. I just prefer his form to Abe's.
I'm on Gary Woodland this week. I got Gary Woodland even money over Tony Finau. I like. I know Tony Finau is playing well, but that field was so bad last week that it's like I don't really put that much into it. Rahm didn't even play. Like he did made some putts, but like he didn't do anything that special, and he just won. So it's like
he drove the piss out of it, basically.
Right. So I'm not, that's whatever. But the Hatton over Leishman. Do you like Hatton over Leishman?
Nope. I like Leishman. He'll be on my outright card.
Okay.
CT Pan over Streelman. Streelman's keep fucking betting him, and I keep losing money on him. So I'm gonna bet CT Pan instead. They're even money. Lipsky over Mitchell. I know you like Mitchell this week, but he's kind of been trending the wrong way.
Keith Mitchell.
He was playing really, really well earlier in the spring in Florida, and then I think he started kind of inching the wrong direction. And he's like one of those guys that succeeds because he hits it far. So
he hasn't played since the Players, and he got a top 15.
Played well there.
Yeah, he got top 15 there, and he had 3.
What I don't love is the way in which he succeeds for this course. It's all off the tee for the most part. Now his approach play is fine, but I'm worried that he loses his advantage at a course like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but
his approach play has been good enough. I was more so I think his ball strike. I'm just looking at guys who have form and ball striking that can carry them, if things start to get difficult.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's on that list. Cameron Young is at the top of that list, by the way.
I just don't think that the driving distance matters at all this week. Like it does. It's a super short course, and it's not a course where guys will hit like 4 drivers around, probably, if that.
Yeah, it's hard with tight fairways. That's what makes me nervous. Like is it gonna? Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see like how many drivers guys are using.
Yeah.
Gary's driver like sprays, so maybe he'll just club down. Hopefully he will, because
I think most guys will just club down because this course is short enough. It's not going to matter.
Just in general, but Cam Young can hit the ball a mile without the driver. So
yeah, he hits it far as fuck.
Right.
Denny over Adam Long. I know Adam Long played better last week, but Adam Long's kind of like a resort course guy, and I kind of don't really want Adam.
I actually
Long
like that. Denny plus money over Adam Long. I agree.
I don't prefer to bet Adam Long when the golf course is going to be hard.
No,
he's like basically a strictly resort course guy. I don't hate Corey Connors plus a bunch of money over Rory. Why do I think Rory's going to like go out and just be an awesome wedge and iron player? Like he's not. His approach play is not very good. Connors' approach play is really fucking good.
Unless his driver goes straight, and now all of a sudden he's hitting like.
Yeah, but I think there's enough dog legs out there. You're not hitting driver.
Could be the case. Rory's, I don't know. He's hard. Rory's very hard to bet against or bet for. Like he's hard on both sides.
Yeah, because his ceiling is like fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. Lipsky is a underdog to Smalley. I know he cashed money for me last week, but I liked it a lot better right than this week.
Yeah.
Don't hate that at all. Sepp Straka is 137 minus versus Honor Bond, so he's getting bet. He's getting juiced.
This is not a Bond course, I don't really think either. But
Russell Knox over Lucas Glover.
I like that, but Glover's a weird person to bet because sometimes you'll bet him and he'll finish DFL. And then the next week he'll fucking finish 12th. And it's like, well, what the hell is going on here?
Joel Damon is even odds with Johnny Vegas. If we think that the power of Johnny Vegas isn't going to really help him out that much, then you should probably take the Damon matchup over him.
Yep.
Vegas plays well on courses where he can hit it farther than other people. So if we start to get into a landing zone competition, I would take Joel Damon in that matchup, and they're at the same price.
I am looking at the aerial map of TPC Potomac.
Okay.
I do not see a lot of holes that look like you can just grab your driver and hit the fuck up. There's a few, for sure. There's a few that definitely look like that, but most of them have curves or trees or bunkers or like fairways that stop and then have like a rough before the green. So
looks like the proximity of iron shots is pretty. I think it's pretty high here though, because you have to club down and you're not hitting.
Yeah, and long holes. The par fours are long. Like there's like 6 or 7 like 450 plus par fours.
Yeah.
Some of these holes, like the
fairways, we're going to see a lot of guys just play from the same spot all day, and it's just going to turn into a 175 contest.
Yep, and the chipping and putting contest because the greens are so fucking small that a bunch of people are going to miss. So if you can get up and down a bunch, that's another thing I kind of think is sneaky important is the around the green and putting guys.
Yeah,
that if you can save yourself a bunch of times on and around the greens, and Cam Young, to your point. Not bad in that category. He's been pretty damn solid there.
He's been good.
He's second in strokes gained par 4, first opportunities gained, so he's hitting it close.
You know who would be a good one in that category? Matthew Fitzpatrick.
I love Fitzpatrick for this course, but the number is not good enough.
Right, but maybe you take him in a matchup or something else like that.
I didn't. Yeah, if they give me,
he's been hitting it farther too, right? Hasn't that been his thing? Is he's been trying to get a little bit of length?
His off the tee numbers are way, way better. Patrick Reed. That if he can find enough fucking fairways, his short game will carry his ass. He's going to win one, and everybody's gonna be like, "What the hell? Why weren't we betting Patrick Reed?" And it's because he's played like shit. He will figure it out eventually. I'm confident of that.
Okay.
He has the pedigree. He's not like popped once. He has like 9 wins on tour, including some monsters. He's also his bent putting is absolutely absurd. Almost 0.4 per round on bent. It's his best putting service.
I wanted to I didn't do my names today, so I had some other names for bent putting. Hostler, like I mentioned earlier, Rory was up there. Seamus Power, Jaeger. Lanto was another one that I finished in the top 20 for me last week. He's another bent putter if you think his
not form. A Lanto course, but he's playing really well. So.
Right. If you're going to ride the form. I think we have multiple bent. We should have multiple bent events in a row, right? Until we hit Southern Hills probably. We have Southern a major Hills in 2 weeks.
Bent as well.
We have 2 more events until a major.
Southern Hills may be bent as well. Although most big time courses don't really play bent anymore, but that area of the country can tend to be bent.
Leash was did well here for the Quicken Loans years too. He was another
I like him.
Past performance.
Yeah, so we have Byron Nelson and then the PGA next 2 weeks.
Yep, that's it.
It's a little. This is a tournament that I know. I understand why people didn't show up because this course doesn't really get you ready for Southern Hills really in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But nobody has played for weeks, really. You think there was the Masters, and then some guys turned around and played RBC. A few guys played Zurich, but that doesn't really count. And that's a fucking team event. No one played last week. No one's playing this week, basically. And then is everybody just going to go to Byron Nelson, or are people just going to take a month off and then show up?
I think they're going to go play AT&T.
Yeah. So.
And Rory's playing just because he's defending, right? Rory won last year.
I would guess so. Yes.
And
I would guess if this was at Quail Hollow, we'd have some guys, but I think that's maybe a casualty.
What about Rory missing the cut? Is he just playing because he won last year? Is he going to get out of here quick?
Here's my concern. He is way better than most of these people in this field. He can sleepwalk and make the cut.
Oh, Rom has brainwashed you after 1 week.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, I'm pointing straight to that. It's like
Right.
Ron brought this like fucking B- game and won the whole tournament. He led wire to wire and was like, he didn't make a putt outside of 10 feet for like 10 holes on Sunday.
He's hitting bombs.
His driving numbers were
was
so
funny. They were just both ripping drivers the whole time.
And Kitayama hits nukes.
Kitayama too.
He's got a weird swing, but he's good.
I mean, Rory had that. He finished the Masters really well with that round. Maybe he has some momentum, defending champion. Maybe he thinks Southern Hills is a major he can win. I don't know.
If he doesn't think he can win at Southern Hills, where the fuck does he think he can win? He
right, that's what I'm saying. I think
that tournament.
Like that is sort of a confidence thing where it's like, hey, if I can get this thing going, I could.
He needs to keep it rolling this week, I think. Right. But like I was kind of talking about, I don't know why nobody's playing this week. I get maybe the course doesn't make sense for a prep, but like, I don't know. Does Craig Ranch? Maybe maybe a little bit more than this week. Sometimes I like to take the week off before the major, but I think you'll see some pretty good field for Byron Nelson because a lot of guys have not played.
I wouldn't want to fly to Maryland. I know for one.
Yeah, but it's 2 weeks.
Right.
I don't know. It's just interesting. The fields have been bad, and I kind of expected this week to be better.
I mean, last week was god awful.
It was one of the worst fields in years.
The good thing about this is we don't have that top end, but there is that little group of like some guys who play well in tournaments.
There's a decent little like middle of like Euro guys.
I assume one of them will win. That's kind of what we talked about earlier. That kind of range we were talking about. So that's kind of the strong tier of the tournament. Other than that, it's pretty bad, pretty shallow.
Yep. All right. Back to the margins. I assume you're just going to keep it straight and narrow.
Yeah. So we have an issue though, but it's fine. We're going to keep it 1 and 2. The issue was when 2017, when there was Quicken Loans was played here, it was a playoff. The next year, Molinari won by 8. So there's been a little bit of a wonkiness trend, but I'm going to say screw it because I hate losing it when I go off the trend. It's like you got to just stick to it, be disciplined. Most tournaments finish 1 or 2. I'm staying with 1 or 2, 250, 350.
Yeah, in the tournaments before those 2 years, I think it was close.
The Kyle Stanley year, the score was 7 under. So if the score stayed that low, yeah, we could have an issue with the playoff. But once we get into that 10 to 15 range, I think that's where we start to look more so into that 1, 2, possibly 2 range, which I love. When we hit 2s, it's such a fun week.
Yep, 1 and done. Do you have a lean so far?
Gary Woodland.
I don't hate it. I used Gary last week. He finished like 20th or whatever, which for me at this point, he might as well miss the cut because I got to start winning tournaments. But
yeah, I make cuts and I make money every week, but I never do it. Gary Woodland was number 2 in my model, and his irons have been fucking awesome. His proximity is going in the right direction. I just think this makes sense, and I feel better with a guy like him if things start to get hard, if wind picks up, if something happens where all of a sudden the leaderboard is going the opposite direction, you just have to hang on. I like a guy like Gary in that position.
Yep, I like Gary this week as well. Like I said, though, I used him last week, so I'd have to go look and see who I have left because I'd like to use Connors, but I think I used him already.
Oh, Gary's best surface is bent.
I just saw that. Yeah, it's nice.
He's not like a great putter, but best worst.
No, but yeah. So I've already used Rory, Connors, Finau, Fitzpatrick, and Gary. I will probably go Hatton then.
Okay.
Or potentially Paul Casey. I've also already used Leishman.
So you've used all these guys.
Didn't work out great. It'll be Hatton because none of these other guys are really doing it for me. I still have big dogs left for all the big tournaments, but just however this field worked out, like these are all the guys I've picked so far this year. Okay. This field is terrible, and I've picked 6, 7 of the top 15 guys somehow.
That ain't good.
And
do you have a best bet?
Shitty with most of them. Here's what I'll do. My favorite outright is Hatton, but Leishman and Woodland are right there for me. The same.
Perfect. Well, I was going to add this. This is perfect. I can just go off that. I liked the Woodland plus money against Tony. I know Tony's playing really well, and ball striking is his thing. But spot-to-spot golf, I trust Gary Woodland. I think any matchup you can get with plus money on him outside of
Definitely
maybe Rory or somebody up. I ain't really Rory. I might even take it. I would take that plus money with Gary. I like that for my best bet.
I may just my outrights may be I like all those guys between 36 and 50, and I may not go anywhere else.
That's
I might do a little dabble on like Damon, Pan, and Denny, just like small ones, because I think all those guys kind of make sense and their form is trending. But like Hatton, Woodland, Casey, Leishman, Reed, Siwoo. That's 6 guys, and that's kind of usually where I like to be.
I like
outrights.
too.
I'll load up on those 6 guys, all of them between 36 and 50, and call it a day.
Perfect. We got F1 in the States this week.
Yeah. And I am very excited. We're going to be on a fishing trip. So whether or not we are going to be able to watch the Miami Grand Prix is a bit up in the air. Hopefully, fish bite like hell all morning. We're done, and we're going back to watch the golf tournament.
Yeah.
Or the F1.
Maybe we can stream it on the way. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But let's plus 120 to win. Don't hate that at a track we've never been before. So I don't want to say Max and him should be even at a track we have no past history at. So I'd maybe take the money there. The issue is that you might go through qualifying and Max will be pretty fast. Maybe just wait till after that.
Yeah, I was looking at the a visual of the track, which is never really helpful. But there's a couple big straights, like a few big straights, and I think Red Bull is faster in the straights still. So
yeah, I
think Max is going to win, but it's either Max or Leclerc. I really don't think anyone else has a chance, to be quite honest. I wish they would let us parlay those two to podium.
Fastest lap, George Russell is minus 10,000. Why is that?
Where do you see that?
Is that just because someone bet it down?
We'll see where you're seeing that.
Race props fastest lap on DK?
That's a mistake, is what that is. I would say it's just like a literal.
Like an actual mistake, yeah.
Yeah. If somebody bet that, that's so stupid. Max Verstappen fastest lap. If he has the fast car, he gets the fastest lap. It's simple as that. Max
Verstappen fastest or to qualify and to win together 120. If I would bet Max, I would maybe go there because if he qualifies first, he's probably winning. So
yeah, probably.
The issue is there's always, we haven't had a chaos race yet, so I would maybe be ready for something weird to happen.
Well, no, but we had chaos qualifying.
Yeah,
last race.
We had a race where Red Bull had a close finish. That's a little bit of chaos, but we have yet to have that race where, something like somebody weird leads the whole, leads or wins or something like that. So we'll see. Yeah, Lando to podium. The Lando car has been coming up here.
Yeah, recently. But he basically admitted that a whole bunch of shit had to go right for him to even have a chance.
Right.
Last week, and it was raining, and he's a good rain driver.
He's plus 450. I don't hate it.
Magnussen minus 175 to beat Schumacher. I might lay that.
Oh, easily.
Mick hasn't got a point yet, I don't think.
He gets last all the time.
And K-Mag has been good.
Yeah, that's just
K-Mag's got to be that's just like betting against Haas and Joe. Their car may break down. K-Mag's car
that's just betting quit. Just he gets in a wreck because he's in that bunched up thing, or the car sucks. Unfortunately, it might not have anything to do with him.
K-Mag is 10th in points right now. He is ahead of Ricardo, Tsunoda, Gasly, Vettel, Alonso. He's ahead of all those guys. Mick hasn't scored a fucking point. He's down there with Hulkenberg.
I don't mind that. 135 is pretty good.
That's not terrible.
No.
I mean, it's a lot of juice, but come on, look at Mick sucks.
Right.
Has Mick beat him yet? Probably not, right?
No, I
Unless
doubt it.
K-Mag wrecked out one week.
Unless he had a race that he went out, but I don't
Nick
know.
didn't even race the one week because he got in the wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see, to say the least. NBA playoffs also going on tonight.
Yeah, I missed out on my Dallas bet, or the one we were talking about, because unfortunately they just beat them before it got to 7 games.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But it seems as if actually we should look up the score of the
Celtics is up. They're up 16 with 5 minutes left.
Okay, so that might be a series.
Jaylen Brown has 28 points. So that's kind of.
I wonder if we can get a price on that, or it's probably locked until.
Yeah. Giannis is only 10 for 26 from the field, so I would say that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, so that series market's not up.
No Marcus Smart, and they beat the shit out of him. Coincidence?
Mavericks plus 350. They're going to get beat, right, or no?
Yeah, they're getting beat. Luka had 45 last night, and that game wasn't close at all.
Miami's minus 525, and the Warriors are minus 550, so they've got these series priced way down.
Well, the Warriors, I honestly think, could lose. I don't think they will, but they should have lost that game the other night.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
They fucked around and got lucky kind of to win that game. But the reason the Warriors are going to win is because they just have like a bajillion times more experience and the best player in the series.
Yeah, series correct.
Jordan Poole might be the best player in that series, though. He was unbelievable the other night. Unbelievable.
Jordan Poole?
Yeah, he was the best player in that game. Wasn't even close.
He's very, very talented.
And he's like, I said this before, he is like a weird mix of Steph and Clay. He can like play off the ball pretty good, but like if you let him run the offense, he'll get 10 assists. Yeah, he shoot like stupid idiot threes that go in the basket.
His confidence is also through the roof right now. So,
well, and he's got Draymond like setting him up and like pumping him up, but also like at the same time telling him like, you know, they got all that experience. They're like I think they have a chance to win the whole thing if they keep shooting like that.
There's not a ton of value right now, but unless you want to go to exact series. We also have the Derby this weekend. That's another thing if you liked horse racing.
I love losing money on the Derby. Give me all the fucking exactas and, you know, all the fancy bets that make draw you in and that you never win.
The Suns to sweep the Mavericks is plus 450. Luka probably won't get swept, but I probably will be one of these wonky series. Like the Grizzlies could easily just win one game, and that's a 280. They could easily get swept.
What about the Heat to sweep?
Plus 300. 4-1 is 205. That's the favorite. You got to think they're probably going to win the next game because Embiid's out.
Yeah, and there's not like a guarantee Embiid's coming back for game 3.
Then say if you go 2 out of 3, the next it's 4-1, or if you do 2 out of 3.
The only thing that concerns me is like if they win the next game, Lowry's probably not going to play the third game. If they win that one, Lowry's probably not going to play the next game. And at some point, you may need Lowry, but like they're not going to play Lowry until they need him because it's like, what the hell? Why would they play him? So
Miami's that game. I watched that game tonight. It was terrible. Miami's offense was so bad, but they're just.
What's Miami to make the finals?
I don't hate that, but I don't think they're beating the Celtics.
What about the Bucks?
Team futures. Hold on. Miami 145. Wow, Miami's the favorite.
Well, because they're up 1-0, they're going to be. They know who's going to be in the conference finals.
Celtics 180, Bucks 250.
I don't hate that, but they need Middleton to come back like ASAP bad.
Warriors plus 115. The Mavericks are 13-1. I don't hate that. They're not going to a 13-1. They've only lost one game. They have Luka on their team.
Luka had 45 though last night, and they just got smoked. Like it wasn't even close. And it was close in one sense, but not really that close.
Unfortunately, these series look like they might be outside of the Celtics and Bucks one. There's not tons of them. I mean, the Grizzlies and Warriors is fun, but
those will be close games. But I trust the Warriors way more.
Shaden Sharp has dropped to 75-1 to go first in the draft, and we bet him at 200. which is nice.
We got capped on our bet. Thank you very much, DraftKings. But
shit. Yeah, I'll be excited to see the F1 race. Hopefully, our trip goes well and we get there. So, if you like fishing, give us your best wishes, please.
Yep. All right. Well, good luck, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.